So I'm in the vortex, and I'm watching sports on TV. It's pretty much all I watch, and it's another thing, watching sports from inside the vortex. It's a whole different experience. The crowd starts chanting USA, 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 and in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I find out, and the world finds out, that Osama bin Laden had been found and killed and whatever. And I'm feeling really good. I'm in the vortex. All of a sudden, I feel really sick. I feel horrible. And, now I have to go to CNN. The president's coming on. I haven't watched any news in a long time. And I'm feeling worse and worse. I can't sleep. I wake up the next day feeling... I don't remember ever feeling.
Because it's like the whole world said to you, the little girl who was standing on the chair, why are you being so difficult? How dare you stay in your blissful, all is well world? In other words, join us in our pushing against.
Wow.
You see. And so, if the little girl had been there with you in that moment, in the way that you were with the little girl, the feedback that you would have gotten from all of that is, we can't do anything about what they are all doing or how they are all feeling in their pushing against. In other words, it doesn't matter what side of what argument you're on. When you're pushing against, you're defying your own resources. You are disallowing your own alignment. And so the discomfort that you felt that was acute, this discomfort was mostly, it wasn't about the thought causing you to lose your connection with the vortex. It was about your acknowledgement that a very large part of the world is still pushing very hard against things that they believe they must control, and then celebrating the paltry, puny, little particle of control that they have found. Do you know how incredibly insignificant that assassination is to the well-being of the world? It could not be less significant, but your discomfort is that large parts of the world, in their absence of knowledge, of control of their own well-being, use symbols of false control as their points of celebration. And so your sadness was about the offness of that. They were just, it was like a lot of people, worried about a little girl standing on the edge of her chair.
It's
and
not
really,
bigger than that.
It really isn't any bigger than that, because you said, for just a moment, you wanted to take those parents out.
Ooh.
In other words, if I had the ability to zap them into oblivion and just take their little girl by the hand, I would have done that, because their behavior was that egregious. Isn't it interesting that negative emotion is negative emotion? Misalignment from the vortex is misalignment from the vortex. And it doesn't matter how, in the scope of human events, big or small the event is that takes you away from the vortex, the bottom line is, the most important thing to acknowledge is, you've deviated from who you are, and you're having an out of the vortex moment, which you shouldn't ought to be having, because it's not who you are. You're a joy-seeking being who wants to always be in joy, you see. So there are no events that are big enough that really justify not being in the vortex, and there are no events that are small enough that they can't give you negative emotion. In other words, it's just your relationship with the vortex. Isn't it wonderful to know that a big bad thing is as easy to overcome as a little not so bad thing? And this is the juxtaposition that you are offering us here. Your two examples are identical.
Wow. As the next day went on, and you couldn't not really hear about it. I had my radio off while I was driving, but the person next to me was telling me, there's a rally and there's this, and I just felt worse and worse, and wow.
Do you think you felt worse because your thoughts were just upon it, or have you identified why it was so big for you?
I think I felt worse because I thought it was so big. That's why I thought it was so big. That's why until now I didn't know that each situation really had the same energy. The little girl.
Well, it's just this simple. Who you are is a very strong vibration of love and well-being. That's who you are. Any thought, whether it's a little girl or whether it's a manhunt that's been going on for years, any thought that causes you to deviate from that steady, true vibration of who you are is going to make you feel bad. And the bigness or the smallness of it is irrelevant. It's the alignment or the not of it for you. And once you put that into perspective, then you realize that no matter what, you're always going to live happily ever after. And something that you don't know yet, but that you're going to come to know, is that as you believe this about the vortex, and you stay true to your alignment with it, and you get to consciously watch the manifestations that will reveal themselves to you because of your steady alignment, you're going to begin to discover the power that you have to influence the world. In other words, because everyone that's running around wants to feel like you're feeling in your empowerment. Everyone that's running around, when they're reveling in the destruction of a person who was not a threat to them, but that they perceived was a threat to them, when they revel in that, it's their powerlessness that is palpable to you. That's what makes you feel so bad. What makes you feel so bad is recognizing that so many people feel so powerless against things, you see. But as you come into alignment and you're not one who feels powerless, what begins to happen is manifestation after manifestation of others who are like you and discovering their true power comes into alignment. This is the time of awakening. This is the time of new beginnings. This is the time when those who are in physical form out here on the leading edge are going to reclaim their vortex and live life in these physical bodies with the energy that creates worlds flowing through them. This is what you signed on for. Have fun with it. Good time
Thank
for
you.
a segment of a session.